So, good day, everyone. Um, this is chapter 7, which is operational procedures during hostage taking situations and hostage negotiations. So, the first slide is all about the learning objectives, which is at the end of this chapter, the students will be able to first explain and understand the things that are happening during hostage taking situations. Describe the PNP guidelines, procedures in handling hostage situations. Describe and identify the tactical procedures to be followed in a hostage taking incident. Number 4 is explain the concept of negotiation. Define the hostage crisis negotiation. 6. Enumerate some of the qualities of a negotiator. 7. Identify and appreciate the role of the crisis negotiating team and explain the guidelines in handling demands of hostage taker. So, the first topic in this chapter is during hostage taking situations. So, during a hostage taking situation, the hostage takers can either choose martyrdom, kill the hostages, and commit suicide. Number 2 is lessen one's demand to a more achievable proportion and continue negotiations. Or number 3, surrender to the police as from Castillo Jr. and Gabao 2021. So, it is important to note that the basic policy in hostage taking incident is no concession to hostage takers. However, the overriding goals for any negotiations are the preservation of life and the safe release of the hostages. So, um, the main point of this idea in during hostage taking situation is you must uh, obtain your goal, which is to the to the preservation of life of the hostage. Next is 4 courses of action. So the forces course of action is where the incident commander during a hostage taking incident can choose among these course of action to deal with the hostage takers. So first is amass officers and the massive power and assault. Use selective sniper fire. Use chemical agents. Contain the area and negotiate through a specially trained negotiator. So, in these four courses of action, which is um, this is the actions to deal with the hostage takers, di ba? Like amass officers and massive firepower, which is you must have mass officers to deal with the hostage takers. That is the one option. Second option is use selective sniper fire to uh, to assassinate the hostage taker if necessary. Number 3 is just use chemical agents like chemical agents such as um, chemical agents that contains sleeping chemicals in order to save the um, hostages. Number 4, contain the area and negotiate through specially trained negotiator. So, um, there is an individual which is called negotiator, and he is expert in negotiating within individuals or the hostage takers. Next is the ICER method. This pertains to the action that needs to be done by the first responder upon arriving on the hostage taking scene. These are first in ICER method is I, which is isolate. Isolate physical and psychological activities on the scene and keep onlookers beyond and the safety line. So the first responder must isolate the area. Isolate the physical and psychological activities on the scene to in order for the safety of others. Second is C, which is contain. Contain the hostage taker's mobility to the smallest location in the building or exterior area, and deny him the opportunity to observe the presence of the police and their activities. This restricts the hostage taker within the confines of the inner perimeter and allows time for crisis stabilization. So, in contain, the first responder must contain the hostage taker. In order to contain him, um, you must move him in the smallest location, which is his movements are limited, and he can see the operation or the strategy of the police that they will plan or come up in order to save the hostages. Number 3 is E from the ICER method, which is E, evaluate. Evaluate the situation because the original report may or may not be what the situation actually is. The evaluation of the situation includes: first, gathering as much cursory information as possible. Second is assessing the threats and estimating the location of the command post as well as the number and proposed position of backup officers needed to establish temporary inner perimeter. So, you must evaluate uh, if the situation is correct, because the original report may not be what situation actually is. So you must confirm the situation first, and estimating the location of the command post. You must hold your ground in the perimeter. Evaluate your position. Third is report. Report the number and the identities of the hostage takers and hostages along with their clothing, descriptions, precipitating events, size, and location of dangerous zones. Afterwards, inform the other responding officers or recommended entry routes, types of weapon involved, and directions or line of fire. So from the ICER method number 4, which is R, so you must report the identities, numbers of the hostage takers, even the clothing, descriptions, participating event, size, location, and danger zones. So you are evaluating the hostage takers and the hostages within your in what you are seeing physically. So you must report it and afterwards inform other responding officer and recommend entry routes, which is easily you easily go to the hostage area, taking area, types of weapon involved, which is it may be knife or firearm, and direction or line of fire, which is like the sniping area if you use a sniper, and the sniping area must be clear and easily see the target. This is the important factors to consider during hostage taking incident. Here are some important factors to take into consideration during a hostage taking incident. So first is intelligence gathering. It focuses on identifying the hostage takers and hostages, determining the hostage takers' capabilities to resist and assault, and identifying the weapons are being used. That is the first is what we call intelligence. Second is motive. Motive, it refers to the identification of what type of hostage takers are involved. Identifying the hostage takers could help identify their motives, leading to the successful resolution of the event. So, the motive of the hostage taker. Number 3, hostage location. It refers to the identification of exact location of the hostages and see how they are secured. So, identify the hostage location. Setting, it pertains to the detailed knowledge of the hostage scene immediate vicinity, a complete reconnaissance of the stage area, terrain leading to the hostage's site, obstruction areas of concealment, viewing points, possible or potential escape routes, location of doors, windows, entrances, exits, and fire escapes must be carried on. So, you must evaluate the setting, which is the the place where windows takes place, the fire exits, the entrances, and windows, doors, to ensure that those stage takers, uh, to limit their options. Now, number 5, formulation of the plan. In case assault is determined as the final option, it must be planned to occur at a time that permits the assault team members to take their positions without detection and limits the hostage taker's ability to resist. This is because when the element of surprise is used, the hostage takers have reduced capability to react violently, escape, hide, or harm the hostages. So, in the formulation of plan, if the negotiator doesn't persist, doesn't is not successfully negotiate with the other party, which is the hostage takers, then they the responding team must formulate a plan, which is to assess the hostage takers to use the assault team members to carry out the assault. Reasons why the hostage takers surrender were here are some of the general reasons why hostage takers surrender. So this is this is the reason of hostage takers surrender. So first is exhaustion and boredom. Syempre, pag if they're exhausted and the hostage taking is without the responder is not a hostage taking, parang there's not such a commotion, so the boredom strikes with the hostage takers. So second, fear of the assault by the police. So in this second option, the hostage taker is feared by the assault of the police. Yan. Number 3, collapse of morale and or motivation. Disagreement among hostage takers. The feeling of abandonment. Occurrence of medical problems during the process. Convictions of futility of persistence. Decision of fighting another day. Court and prison. Achievement of the goal. Publicity. Development of confidence in the judicial process. Recognition of by the police of the impossibility of demands they made, assurance of a peaceful surrender to custody, conviction that harm to hostages is unhelpful to their cause, guarantee of safe passage out of stronghold, expectation of early release or rescue, intervention of the intermediaries, expectations of political asylum, direction of group leaders, assault by arrangement, and backstage political agreement. So, according to the revised PNP guidelines procedures in handling hostage situation, PNPs, according to revised Philippine National Police Operational Procedures Manual in 2021, and the PNP Hostage Negotiators Handbook in 2011, inshalling the hostage situations, the facilitators handbook procedures shall be followed. So first is the first responder, which stands for FR. This refers to the personnel responding to hostage incidents and are primarily responsible for minimizing injuries, strategically deploying personnel, gathering intelligence, and initiating a holding action to contain the hostage taker pending arrival of the SWAT crisis response teams and the crisis negotiation team. So that's all my report. I am Joel T. Ariba, Bscrim 4B. That's all, sir. Thank you.
I am Shaira de la Buena, and I'm going to discuss the continuation of the report of Group 8, which is assign the following tasks. Letter A. Secure the incident scene and establish perimeter security, meaning an incident scene and establishing perimeter security, it involves creating a protective boundary to prevent unauthorized access and ensure safety. It also includes physical barriers, surveillance systems, and access control. Letter B. Give a situation update to the concerned TOC and inform the hostage negotiation team or HNT for possible development. In other words, it is about situation update to the TOC and HNT. The objective of this is to provide a clear and concise update to the Tactical Operations Center or the TOC regarding the current status of the incident. It includes details to include. The under of the details to include is the nature of the incident. Example, if it is hostage situation. Then the number and condition of hostages, status of the hostage taker, and any immediate threats or developments. Letter C. Do not allow unauthorized persons at the incident scene. In other words, it is about prevent unauthorized access, and it includes control access, establish perimeter security, use physical barriers to secure the incident scene, access control measures, implement checkpoints to screen individuals entering or leaving the area, and also communication. It involves clearly communicate to bystanders and unauthorized individuals that they must remain outside the perimeter for their safety. Letter D. Gather information about the hostage taker and hostage from witnesses. It is about gathering information or information collection. You need to interview witnesses, approach individuals who may have seen or heard anything related to the incident. The key information to gather is that the description of the hostage taker, the appearance, behavior, and the weapon used. Details about the hostages, number, identities, and condition. Then, the documentation. Record all information accurately for further analysis and operational planning. Letter E. Reroute traffic flow if necessary. It is about assess traffic conditions, determine if existing traffic patterns pose a risk or impede emergency response efforts, implement rerouting, use traffic cones, barriers, or police officers to redirect vehicles away from the incident scene. Then inform local authorities and traffic management centers of changes to ensure public awareness. Letter F. Evacuate all persons within the vicinity of the incident scene. It is about evacuation protocol. Identify evacuation zones. Determine safe areas where individuals can be moved away from potential danger. Conduct evaluation. Use loudspeakers or other communication methods to instruct individuals on evacuation procedures. Then, ensure that vulnerable populations, example, children, elderly, receive assistance as needed. Letter H. Establish Advanced Command Post or ACP. It is about command structure. It includes location selection. Choose a strategic location for the ACP that allows for effective communication and oversight of the incident case. Command functions. Designate a command officer to oversee operation from this location, and also coordination hub. The ACP serves as a central point for coordinating efforts among various agencies involved in the response. By systematically addressing each of these points, Responders can effectively manage a hostage situation while ensuring safety and facilitating communication among all involved parties. Letter I. Initiate contact with the hostage taker through any available means, meaning for assessing and managing the situation, first responders should approach cautiously, aiming to isolate and evaluate the scenario while avoiding escalation. Listening actively without pressing for demands can help de-escalate tensions. The first 15 to 45 minutes are particularly dangerous, so establishing communication can be vital for gathering intelligence and potentially calming the hostage taker. It's essential to maintain a calm demeanor and avoid actions that could provoke violence, focusing instead on creating a rapport that may facilitate negotiation later. Letter J. If the situation becomes volatile, request for deployment of HNT. However, at any given time, if the hostage taker is neutralized, the HNT may no longer be necessary. So, if a hostage situation becomes volatile, requesting the deployment of hostage negotiation team is essential for professional intervention. The HNT specializes in crisis negotiation and can help stabilize the situation through trained negotiators. However, if the hostage taker is neutralized, the need for the HNT may diminish, as the role is primarily to facilitate dialogue and resolution. This flexibility allows law enforcement to adapt the response based on real-time developments, ensuring that resources are effectively utilized according to the evolving dynamics of the incident. Letter K. Brief the TL, HNT of the situation and turn over the conduct of negotiation. So, briefing the team leader and the hostage negotiation team about the situation and transferring the conduct of negotiation is a critical step in managing a hostage crisis. Here's a detailed discussion of this process: the information sharing, strategic planning, and the resource allocation. When we say information sharing, the briefing serves to provide the TL and HNT with comprehensive information about the current status of the situation, including the number of hostages and hostage takers, the demands or grievances expressed by the hostage takers, and any observed behavior or psychological state of the hostage taker, and also the physical environment, including any potential hazards. About the strategic planning naman is by sharing insights and observation. And the resource allocation is the briefing allows for an assessment of resources needed for negotiation, such as additional personal equipment or psychological support. Letter I. Stay at the incident scene to maintain security, crowd and traffic control, preserve evidence, and take custody of witnesses. So, staying at the incident scene is a critical responsibility for first responders and law enforcement personnel during a hostage situation. This presence serves multiple essential functions, each contributing to the overall management of the crisis and ensuring the safety of all involved. Letter B. Incident Commander. There shall be only one IC holding at least a senior rank and or one with experience in hostage or crisis situations or relative training until such time that he or she officially designates a spokesperson. He or she may issue appropriate press statements and continue to perform the role of the spokesperson, meaning the role of the incident commander is crucial in managing hostage situations. The IC must be a senior officer with relevant experience and training, ensuring effective leadership. Initially, the IC may also act as the spokesperson until a designated individual is appointed, allowing for consistent communication with the media and public. Decisions and plans in dealing with hostage-taking incident. Necessary plans that the IC needs to prepare after assessing the hostage-taking situations are: first, emergency response plan. Emergency response highly depends on the threat posed by the hostage takers. Use of chemical agents should not be ruled out. Emergency response personnel should be properly identified through uniforms and visible markings, and the chief of the service support group should ensure that vehicles are readily available to support any evacuation and other medical needs. So, in other words, emergency response plan is for hostage situations. It is critical and must be tailored to the specific threats posed by hostage takers. So I give three key components of emergency response plan. First, threat assessment. Second, use of chemical agents. And the third, or the last, support for evacuation and the medical needs. So, first, the threat assessment. It is the response plan should begin with a thorough assessment of the threat level. Understanding the motives and capabilities of the hostage takers informs decision making and tactics. Second is the use of chemical agents. The potential use of chemical agents is a contentious issue. While they can incapacitate hostage takers, their deployment must be carefully considered to avoid harming hostages. And last is support for evacuation and medical needs. The chief of the service support group must ensure that vehicles are readily available for evacuation and medical assistance. Number 2, breakout plan. The more hostages, the greater possibility of a breakout, which police elements should be prepared for. In drawing out a breakout plan, counteraction against the reaction of hostage takers should be given priority consideration. Possible exits of hostages and possible escapes of hostage takers shall be included in the plan. Possibility of breakout shall be considered immediately upon drawing out of negotiation strategies. This should be considered as one of the priority contingency, and breakout plan should not be used as a go signal for assault unless the escaping hostages are threatened by the hostage takers. So breakout plan, it is a critical component of crisis management in hostage situations. It focuses on preparing law enforcement for the possibility of hostages attempting to escape and the corresponding reactions of the hostage takers. Here are key considerations for developing an effective breakout plan. First is understanding hostage dynamics. The likelihood of a breakout increases with the number of hostages. More hostages can lead to heightened tensions, making it essential for police to anticipate and prepare for such actions. Second is counteractions against hostage takers. The plan must prioritize counteractions to potential responses from hostage takers during a breakout attempt. And third, identifying exits. The plan should include identifying possible exits for both hostages and hostage takers. Number 3 is delivery plan. So, delivery plan is all about critical aspect of managing hostage situations, emphasizing the need for meticulous preparation and coordination among all police and support personnel involved. Here are the key components. Careful planning. Delivery can be highly dangerous, necessitating a well-thought-out plan that outlines every aspect of execution. All involved personnel must understand the rules and the overall strategy to ensure a cohesive response, especially if hostage takers after their plans during execution. Second is safety as a priority. The primary concern through the delivery process is safety for hostages, responders, and bystanders. The plan must account for potential risks and include contingencies to address unexpected developments. And lastly is authorization and coordination. The delivery plan should be developed in conjunction with the incident commander or the IC. or unseen commander. This collaboration ensures that all actions are authorized and aligned with the overall operational strategy. Number 4 is surrender plan. The surrender plan is a vital component in hostage situations, focusing on ensuring the safety of hostages while facilitating a peaceful resolution. I have two elements of an effective surrender plan. One is prioritizing hostage safety and awareness of suicide by COP or COPE. Prioritizing hostage safety. The plan must be designed to ensure that hostages' lives are not endangered. This often involves negotiating for the release of hostages prior to the actual surrender of the hostage takers, minimizing risk during the transition. Second is the awareness of suicide. Police elements, particularly SWAT teams, must remain vigilant about the possibility of suicide by COP, where a hostage taker may provoke law enforcement to use lethal force. This awareness influences tactical decisions and reinforces the need for caution during the surrender process. Number 5. Hostage reception or release. It is about a critical phase following a hostage situation, focusing on the safety and debriefing of released hostages. Intelligence gathering. Released hostages are invaluable sources of intelligence regarding the hostage takers, their methods, and the situation dynamics. So, next of intelligence gathering, we have composition of the reception party under of the hostage reception release key considerations. It is the reception party must include medical personnel to assess and address any physical or psychological injuries sustained by the hostages. Investigators should also be present to begin collecting statements and evidence. Collection plan. Number 6 is collection plan. Collection plan, it is about a critical component also in managing hostage situations, focusing on the safe retrieval of hostages or items of interest. So, there are key elements of an effective collection plan. So, first is careful planning. Collection operations can be hazardous and must be meticulously planned. And 2 is authority and coordination. No collection should commence without explicit authorization from the incident commander or the IC or on-scene commander. This ensures that actions are aligned with overall strategy and command structure. And third is the open communication. Continuous communication is essential among all involved elements, including police personnel, negotiators, and SWAT members. An open line of communication facilitates real-time updates and coordinated responses during the collection process. In conclusion, an effective collection plan is essential for ensuring the safety of hostages and law enforcement personnel during a crisis. By prioritizing careful planning, clear communication, and coordination among all parties, law enforcement can enhance their ability to manage collection safely and effectively while maximizing intelligence gathering opportunities. ICs or the incident commanders, 3 courses of action. The incident commander or IC shall be guided by the following courses of actions in handling hostage situations. First is the negotiate. So, negotiate, it is about the situation must be stabilized before negotiations begin. This involves assessing the environment, ensuring the safety of hostages, and minimizing immediate threats. Stabilization helps create a conducive atmosphere for dialogue. All attempts to negotiate should be conducted through remote means such as phone or radio communication. This reduces the risk of direct confrontation and allows for safer interactions between negotiators and hostage takers. In conclusion, the negotiation course of action outlined for the IC or the incident commander emphasizes careful planning, safety, and ethical conduct as fundamental principles in managing hostage situations. By focusing on these elements, law enforcement can enhance their chances of achieving a peaceful resolution while safeguarding the lives of hostages and responders alike. Second is arrest. Arrest is a course of action is a critical aspect of managing hostage situations, particularly when the opportunity arises to safely apprehend the hostage taker. In conclusion, the arrest course of action in hostage situation requires careful consideration and execution to ensure safety for all involved parties. By adhering to legal protocols, prioritizing safety, and maintaining thorough documentation, law enforcement can effectively manage arrests while upholding justice and protecting hostages and responders alike. Third is the tactical assault. Tactical assault is the course of action, is a critical and high-stakes component of responding to hostage situations. It is typically considered a last resort, employed only under specific circumstances where the safety of hostages and law enforcement personnel is at immediate risk. In conclusion, the tactical assault course of action is a critical response option in hostage situations where immediate threats to life exist. It requires careful considerations, thorough planning, and precise execution to ensure the safety of hostages and law enforcement personnel. By adhering to established protocols and prioritizing safety, law enforcement can effectively manage high-risk situations while working toward a resolution that minimizes harm.
A pleasant day, everyone. So my name is Rana Pido, and I'm here to discuss my assigned topic. So let's talk about hostage negotiation team, or the HNT. They are the responsible for negotiating with hostage takers to secure the release of the hostages safely. So negotiators shall be designated by the IC. When we say IC, it is the incident commander. No one shall be allowed to talk to the hostage taker without clearance from the negotiator or the IC. The HNT is directly under the control of the supervision of the IC, and the HNT consists of the team leader or the coordinator, the primary negotiator, and the secondary negotiator, intelligence liaison, or the recorder. They solely maintains communication with other teams and documents the negotiation. And lastly, the board negotiator. So their tasks are the following. They set up the Negotiation Operations Center, or the NOC, and initiate contact with the hostage taker and obtain other information, and they also gives to the IC and brief him or her the current situation. And letter D, they also evaluate the necessity of the resorting to other option without compromising the safety of the hostages. And they also recommend for activation of CMC and deployment of CIMTG as necessary. And they also facilitate all deliveries, hostage reception and release, and possible surrender of hostage taker, and they also attend to all meetings called by the CMC or the IC. So the next one is the assault team. The assault team shall be alerted for deployment in case the negotiation fails. Members of the assault team shall wear authorized and easily recognizable uniform during the conduct of the operation. So they are easily seen. And E, the crowd control. Crowd control will be deployed to manage and control the crowd and argument first the responders in securing their perimeter. So the support personnel, they are or shall include those in charge of managing traffic, firefighting, providing medical emergency assistance, crime scene processing, and rescue. So while the post-hostage taking incident took place, this procedure shall be undertaken. So the first one is clear and secure the crime scene to avoid contamination of evidence. The second one is evacuate the hostages and other injured person. Third one, conduct CSI. And the fourth one is conduct debriefing on the hostages and participating personnel and take the sworn statement of witnesses and hostages. So in the fifth procedure, where hostage taker and the key participants in this incident. And sixth, initiate case conference to facilitate filing of cases. The next one is issue press statements and submit reports to higher headquarters and deactivate the CMC and CIMTG to see it all. So, the tactical procedure to be followed in the hostage-taking incident are the following. So, number one, containment of the hostage position, also known as operational containment 125, and this includes but not limited to the following. So, stabilization of the incident, determining the exact location of the hostage taker, physically containing the action of the smallest area, and isolation of the scene, evacuation of the adjoining areas, and blocking avenues for escapes. And number two is the communication. Establishing contact with the hostage takers is the first order of the business. This may be initiated by either the hostage takers or the authorities. So once the contact is established, it must be to keep the communication open and establish the following through the entirety of the negotiation if possible. So a problem-solving climate by showing a desire to understand and willingness to help, and B, a climate of compromise by adopting a give-and-take attitude and by showing a willingness to bargain and yield when necessary. So the number three, the visual and audio surveillance after containing the situation and establishing communication, it is essential to gather information. This can be done through visual and audio surveillance. Helpful tools for such tasks are the following: the telescope, the portable searching lights, night vision devices, and the television camera, spike or contact microphone, telephone, and intercoms. And the assault alternative refers to the responding to the hostage takers once the decision to engage has been made. So International Association of the Chief of Police, so it was derived from a certain source. This decision is made with the following consideration. So when the victims are in imminent danger of injury, when the victims are imminent danger of death, when the hostage takers has gained control of the crime scene or potential victims, and if the hostage have already been killed. So those are the situation. The hostage negotiation and recovery. A negotiation approach is a systematic process of starting to work on a task of situating and dealing with the basis of starting to work. Primary consideration are the arrangement of terms and conditions between the authorities and suspects, which are for the release of the hostages. So according to the PNP Hostage Negotiators Handbook, negotiation is a process in which two or more persons or groups or entities with conflicting interests voluntarily engage in dialogue or discussion in order to arrive at an argument that will benefit all the parties concerned. So negotiation is not about winning an argument in order to get what you want, but it is about working with other party or parties so that everyone gets what they want. Thus, the key word in any negotiation is compromise. So the critical points to remember in negotiations are the following. So number one, you need to be you need to remember the goal of the negotiation is to reach an agreement that will benefit the concerned individual or groups. The second one is that good negotiation fosters stronger working relationship between people or groups and promotes mutual understanding among the concerned individuals or groups, especially after reaching an argument. So the third one is all negotiation must be willing to work with those who have conflicting interests. They must be willing to compromise or exchange for value in order to negotiation to be successful. So a negotiation can only be possible when both parties acknowledge the legitimacy of each other conflicting viewpoints and are willing to work with the solution of an argument in order to arrive with a win-win situation. In this slide, if the incident or of the hostage takers or the hostage taking incident took place, this following should be remembered. So next is the 8 easy steps in negotiation process. Here are the 8 steps in negotiation process based on the PNP Hostage Negotiators Handbook. So the first one, all of the players should be clear with their interests and demands. The second, it is to identify and acknowledge all conflicts and issues which need to be resolved. The third one is agree on a common goal, and bargain for a better deal. Trade concessions, try to resolve the issues and problems of all those concerns, and also to compromise. And the last one is to conclude with a formal or written agreement. That's all. Thank you.
For negotiation stages and critical tasks. According to PNP Hostess Negotiator Handbook 2011, there are four negotiation stages. There are the preliminary stage, the operational stage, the exploratory stage, and the conclusion or the closing stage. So, in each stages has corresponding tasks to be done in order to execute the negotiation properly. They are first the preliminary stage. Create a climate conducive to the positive exchange of views in issues such as resolving all past disputes or conflicts. It means working together to solve the conflict in the past. Establish rapport. It means build relationship. Get agreement on agenda and ground rules. It means before starting a meeting, it is important to make sure that everyone agrees on what topic will be discussed and the rules that everyone will be follow. Identify issue and rules. It making you recognize understanding the problem or challenges that they may arise, as well as the responsibility or task the different people or groups have in particular situation. Establish timeline or the deadline of the task or the negotiation. Number two, the opening stage. Opening position or initial offer must be clearly slick. It's saying that when you are starting something new like a negotiation, it's important to clearly state your starting point or offer. This helps to set the foundation for discussion and ensure that everyone involved understand where things are beginning. The other party operating position or initial demand must be clarified and must be tested in logical and rational manner. When you're negotiating with someone, it's important to understand what they want at the beginning and make sure it makes sense. Number three, the exploratory stage, which is in this stage is you going to identify the other party underlying demands and needs through active listening and probing through asking questions. Uh, is alternative currency or exchange must be tested. Concession and compromise must be made in order to arrive in meeting point or agreement. It's talking about how to understand what the other person want in negotiation It said that you should really listen to them and ask questions to figure out what they really need. It's also mentioned that you should be open to giving up some things or finding different way to make deal both parties agree on. Basically, it's all about finding a middle ground where both sides are happy. Number 4, the conclusion or the closing stage. Currencies or term must be matched to the needs. Agreement it must be formalized after resolving the potential problem and all lingering concern, and ensure that what has been agreed upon is enacted or implemented as planned using the appropriate form such as contract or memorandum or agreement. It's talking about making sure that when you are dealing with different currency or terms in a negotiation, you need to make sure they match what you need. Before finalizing the agreement, you should address any potential issue or concern that may come up. Once everything agreed upon, it's important to make sure that the agreement is carried out as a plan. So, 8 sources of power in a negotiation process. Number one is the information. Number two is the time. Number three is less need. Number four is credibility. Number five is the willingness to take rest. Number six is commitment. Number seven is the expertise. And lastly is the number eight is empathy. So, power is defined as individual ability to get things done by influencing other people. Power, however, to done is largely based upon perception, according to the help in gaining advantage over the other party of any negotiation. Important to note that this should not use to gain all the benefit, but merely to assess in difficult situation. Part to gain all the one other party refuse to cooperate. Those factors are the number one, the information. This refers to the prior knowledge of the other side, interest and expectation, financial situation, priorities, organizational pressure, and a limitation will provide a negotiator with the edge during the actual negotiation, especially when one or both parties tend to hide their true interests and priorities. Gaining information is like having a little weapon when it comes to negotiation. So, kung may information, this is advantage in negotiation. It means that number two is time. Time pressure on the other party create an advantage to the negotiation since he or she is given more time to study the situation and create exact calculation, knowing the opponent's deadline given is an age. Thus not exposing the deadline on the negotiator and is highly recommended. Patience play a key role in a negotiation. A simple term is talking about how having more time to think and plan during negotiation can give you advantage. If you know that the other party is hurry or has a deadline, you can use that information to yourself or to your benefits. It suggests that you don't reveal your own deadline so that you have more time to make decision. Being patient is important in negotiation because it allows you to think things truly and make better choices. So basically, taking your time and being patient can help you in negotiations. Number three, list need. A party is a weaker position if she or he has a greater need to do business than the other player in the process. Awareness of the opponent perception, needs, and what give more power, and understanding how to control his or her behavior. If one person really need to make a deal more than the other people involved, they are at the disadvantage. So it's important to understand what the other people want and need in order to have more control over the situation. By knowing what the other person is thinking and feeling, you can better influence their action. Credibility. Number 4 is credibility. The negotiator background must be clearly stated to create an impression he or she are trustworthy to handle and resolve issue involved PNP 2011, page 21. So, credibility is the negotiation means that the person handling the negotiation need to show that they are trustworthy and reliable. This helps to build trust and confidence in resolving any problem that may come up during the negotiation process. Number 5 is willingness to take risks. It's referred to the power of the negotiation table. This occurs when the negotiator is prepared to take calculated and intelligent risks, or when he or she can make demand given a ultimatum and it's not afraid to lose the deal. So, willingness to take risks, it means being confident and bold during negotiations. It's about being ready to take smart risks and or make strong demand without being scared of losing the deal. Number 6, commitment. Dedication and support by all members of the negotiation team spells success. It is talking about the importance of commitment in a negotiating team. Let's say that dedicating and support from all team members are crucial for achieving success in negotiation. This means that everyone on the team need to be fully committed and work together to reach their goals. Number 7, expertise. A negotiator was widely recognized and expert has advantage when negotiating. So this is because people are more likely to trust and listen to someone who is considered knowledgeable and skilled in the subject. Number 8 is empathy. Empathy when the other party give great insight to their personal, psychological, organizational needs, thus giving a negotiation more chances to get what he or she want in negotiation. Showing empathy, you are more likely to build a trust and listen to someone who is considered knowledgeable. Parang you are more likely to build trust and rapport with the other party or relationship, making easier to to each mutually beneficial agreement hostage negotiation. So, primary concern for every negotiation shall always be for the safe release of the hostage and safe surrender of the hostage taker or arrest of the perpetrator. Negotiation must be conducted in accordance with the policy of no substantial concession. The following shall not be provided in exchange for the safe release of the hostage. Release of the prisoner serving sentence in prison. So, of course, you cannot negotiate about that. Major policy or constitutional changes. Escape from prosecution of any person and compatibilization by any authority. Objectives of negotiations. According to PNP Hostage Negotiator Handbook, hostage negotiations shall be conducted primarily for the following objectives. First, the safe release of the hostage. Second, the safe handover of the perpetrator. Number 3, arrest of the perpetrator. Number 4, minimize harm to both the hostage and the hostage takers. And number 5, minimize damage to properties. Additionally, for the purpose of gaining tactical advantage, negotiation should always aim to achieve the following objective: to gather intelligence from the stronghold, to gain enough time for the assault perpetrator, to establish routine among the perpetrator, to build rapport with the perpetrator, to build stability with the stronghold, and to provide time to explain the police activity to the perpetrator and the hostage. Effect of buying time in hostage negotiations. Buying time in hostage negotiation is an initial concern of all negotiators. This will allow them to gain needed information to assess the situations and have an effective negotiations with the hostage takers. It provides negotiators ample space to exercise his or her expertise and eventually achieve his her goals. This could also have a various effect on the police hostage and the hostage takers. Some of these effects are the following. Police perspective. Time allows to the police to assemble its resources, draw a detailed plan on its action, increase opportunity for external internal intelligence gathering. However, it will also bring additional problem to the possible arrival of more media practitioners, increase cost of operation, and most stress and exhaustion on the part of the police personnel. Hostage perspective. For the hostage, times allows the following: increase human needs, identifies as an individual, reduce anxiety, exhaustion, boredom, increase opportunity for escape, and increase opportunity for bonding. Time allows the police to assemble its resources through a detailed plan and action. Hostage taker perspective. Time allows an increase rationally among the perpetrator. For example, the need for the food, water, light, air condition, or anything which they think could remove those that distract their concentration or make them comfortable. Time might also reduce expectations and increase suspicions or doubts on the police intention. Hostage negotiation check off list. The negotiator needs to know the following: the detail of what has happened. The detail should answer the following question: who are involved? The person who are involved. When and how did it start? Why did it start? Where did it happen? Saan yun nangyari? Why did it happen? Bakit nangyari? Why is he doing this? Bakit niya ginagawa to? What is his purpose? The purpose of the perpetrator. How long was the situation like this?
So, in hostage negotiation check off list, so second is the details of stronghold 128. So, the details of the stronghold wherein hostages are being kept. The details are very crucial. So, it is important that we should ask where the stronghold is located or where the hostage has been taken into. Second, is it static or mobile? Or this means that is it a house or a vehicle? And what can we see from the outside? So it has to be important that we analyze whether a house, whether we can see the hostages from the outside. So second, the next is what can the people inside see. So we should consider also what the hostage takers can see from the inside. And next is what is the situation in the area. It is important that we ask whether there are many civilians around the stronghold, in order for certain instances wherein they had to open fire in case of altercation between the hostage takers and the police officers. Yes. So, is it safe? It is important that we ask if is it safe for the law enforcers to stay there on civilians. So, what I mean is civilians. So, next is what are the conditions of the people inside. So it is important that we ask, consider how the hostages inside is, or are they safe. Then the third is the details of the hostages. So these details are needed in hostage negotiation checkoff list. So we have to identify who are these people, how many are they, how were they involved in this incident, how are they related to the hostage takers, and we also have to identify how old they are, and how many are women, how many are men, what are their conditions, physical or mentally stable, where are they located in the stronghold. So it is important we consider these details so that we can have a hostage negotiation successful. So the fourth is the details of the hostage takers. So sometimes it is hard to identify the hostage takers. So we have to ask who are they, what are they capable of, kung ano talaga nila kayang mahimo. Tapos kung pirahera, how many are they? And we have to ask the hostage takers, and how did they get into the situation? Kaya na nga direkto na sitwasyon. So, is it deliberate or accidental? This means that is it planned or just accidentally happened? And if they are armed, we have to ask these questions. Next is, what are the weapons used to intimidate the hostages, and where are they located in the stronghold? Kung din talaga rin nakapwesto sa balay or sa auto, and though they have any chances to escape, so we have to consider that. And what do they want from the authorities? We have to ask the hostage takers kung nanong may kapalit ba pagpalayan isang hostage, and yun man makakarawat nera. So that's all for hostage negotiation check-off list. So these are the things that you have to consider when you undergo negotiation in a hostage taking crisis. So next is the quality of the negotiators. According to the Philippine Hostage Negotiators Handbook, 201, negotiators should possess following qualities. First is communication. The negotiator should be articulate, able to speak clearly and concise, to communicate with a variety of different people in different situations with ease, pitching the style of conversation to suit the audience. B. She must be capable of measured, careful delivery and having a calming influence. C. She should have active listening skills and the ability to take charge of conversation. So she must be able to make people feel confident in opening up in conversation. So that's one of the qualities of negotiators, is communication. Second is cognitive skills. The negotiator should be mentally agile and astute and incisive. So this means that the negotiator dapat may niya mentally capacity to provide clear decision and to get information from the hostage takers. Tas dapat dirigulya maluyang panununa. B. He must be logical, rational, and the ability to prove motives and identical critical issues. So she must think ahead, understand the value of influence, and be able to develop strategy. D. She must also be flexible and adaptive with the ability to think clearly and laterally. Third quality of the negotiator is the relationship with the people. So the negotiator must be able to work cooperatively as part of a team, consulting, listening, referring, and encouraging. So he must be person-centered, genuinely interested in others, caring, considerate, insensitive, and tolerant. C. She must be able to show empathy and concern. And lastly, as individuals, she must be socially confident, friendly, and outgoing. So the fourth professional competence. The fourth is professional competence. The negotiator should have a sound operational background and breadth experience. She must be tactically aware of the technical support unit and SWAT teams. So SWAT teams usually we don't have SWAT teams. I guess I don't really know, but we have SAF, Special Action Force. C is professionally committed to the ethics of negotiating. So you must follow the negotiation ethics. He should exhibit drive and enthusiasm. So, and 5, personal qualities. The negotiator should have emotional control and ability to cope with stress, always remaining calm and even-tempered. He should be undeterred by failure, resilient, patient, persistent, and robust against aggression. She is confident, assured, self-assured, but without arrogance and self-importance. She must be honest with himself, confronting his feelings and accepting responsibility, and must be physically, mentally fit. So that's the qualities of negotiators. So let's move to duties and responsibilities of negotiators. Here are some duties and responsibilities of a negotiator according to PNP Manual 2011, page 34. Ensure that the policy in saving the lives of the hostages and hostage takers shall be adhered to during the conduct of negotiations. So it is important that that the negotiators has the responsibilities and duties that the hostages should be safe during negotiations. 2 is report the incident on scene commander before briefing the guideline. Later on, we will tackle this. We will tackle the negotiation team as part of critical incident management group and C&T organized structure. So 3, come up with a negotiation strategy based on the overall strategy of the incident on scene commander in resolving the crisis. 4 is communicate with perpetrator and or hostages. So the negotiator, of course, has to communicate with the hostage takers. 5 is to coordinate the SWAT commander and security commander all actions, including deliveries, collection, evacuation, surrender, and activities to avoid crossfire. So the negotiator should coordinate the SWAT teams, security commander, and all that is present during hostage taking crisis. 6 is record all messages, information, statements of the hostage takers, and the other pertinent data brought to the attention of the negotiating cell. Observe all these to include tapes for evidentiary purposes. So the negotiator should record messages, information, statements of the hostage takers, as will be will be for the purpose of evidentiary yes. 7 is develop and dissemination of intelligence information gained through negotiations. 8 is ensure the safety of all negotiators. 9. Maintain good physical condition and develop effective relief system in case the activity will be extended for more than 24 hours. And lastly, 10. Conduct a hot debriefing. So that's all the duties and responsibilities of negotiators. So crisis negotiating team. So The crisis negotiating team, also called the crisis management team, provides verbal and tactical support to the SWAT team and is responsible for controlling a barricaded suspect or hostage situation. So the crisis negotiating team, CNT, must ensure that it meets the following three key objectives. So the first objective is safety for all the people involved. So the safety of the hostages and the negotiating team. Second is the safe release or rescue of the hostages. So they have to ensure that the hostages are rescued and to avoid any casualties. So third is the apprehension and prosecution of the hostage taker. So their last objective is to apprehend the hostage takers or the criminal. So the negotiation team is directly under the control supervision of on-the-scene commander or incident commander. Is one of the elements of critical incident management group or CIMTG within the negotiating group PNP 2021 page 63. So here we can see in figure 9 the negotiation team as part of the critical incident management group. So at the above is the on-scene commander. So under the on-scene commander we have different groups. So under the on-scene commander we have the negotiation group, operation group, service support group, media group. So in the negotiation group, under here is negotiator, of course, while the operation group under here is law enforcement, such as that SWAT team. While on the service support group, here we have medics or rescuers in case of casualties or any emergencies. And lastly, the media groups to record or provide evidentiary evidences. While here in figure 10 we have CNT or crisis negotiation team organized structure. So under here is the on-scene commander on the top, while under the on-scene commander the CNT team leader commands the secondary negotiator or coach commander and the primary negotiator, psychologist, and intelligence recorder. So that's it for the CNT organized structure. So that would be all. Thank you.
Incident on Scene Commander. The incident on scene commander of any hostages critical incident is designated by the Crisis Management Committee or the CMC. The incident is design civilities of the incident on scene commander are as follows according to PNP 2011 page 35. First is ensure the accomplishment of the mission by saving the lives of the hostages and the arrest of the perpetrators. So the main focus or the main goal of the commander is to save the lives of hostages and to capture the perpetrators. Second is directs, coordinates, supervises, and controls the operation of all elements involved in the operation. So the commander, he is the one who directs, coordinates, supervises, and controls the operation. The third one is select and designates personnel and units to compose the command dealing with the hostage critical incident. So the commander, he is the one that directs and selects designates if a hostage taking occurs. Number 4 is develops effective media relations with the objective to promote and maintain public understanding, confidence, trust, cooperation, and support to the police organization, whatever the outcome of the operations. So the commander, they are confident and maintain the understanding of the public, and they are the one who are in charge of whatever the outcome will be. The next one is prepares and submit to the concerned regional director of the police regional office after operations report after the culmination of the operations, including evaluation and recommendation of the benefit of future operation. So the commander are the one who are responsible to prepare and submit a report to the concerned regional director of the police regional office. The next one is supervise the implementation of the crisis management plan. So he is the one who supervise of the planning that the team will do. Directs all the investigators to secure all physical evidence gathered within the stronghold to establish evidence that could warrant filing of appropriate charges. He is the one who directs the investigators to establish a evidence that could warrant filing and of appropriate charges. Perform such other duties and not mentioned herein as directed by higher headquarters and other lawful authorities. So the commander is the one who performs other duties that will directed by other higher headquarters. Negotiation team leader or coordinator. NTL coordinator is an experienced and competent negotiator with sound operational skills. He or she ensures that the cell is properly run and accurately reflects the incident on scene commander strategy. He or she advises the incident on scene commander on the best negotiating strategies and coordinates the process with the SWAT and the forward command resources, according to PNP 2012, page 38. So he is the NTL coordinator is the one who make negotiating strategies to and coordinates the process with the SWAT. So here are the types of negotiator. The first one is the primary negotiator. Primary negotiator is the principal negotiator. Their tasks are: he or she is actually engaged in conversation with the hostage takers or hostage taker. So the primary negotiator is the one who's talking to the hostage taker when the hostage taker wants something or demands something. He or she negotiates within the parameters set by the negotiation team leader. He or she also gathers intelligence while in the process of negotiation and relay them to the negotiation team leader. He or she takes part in team meetings and has a thorough understanding of all plans and block of conversation throughout the incident. The secondary negotiator. The secondary negotiator gives direct support to the primary negotiator in interpreting and implementing the incident on scene commander overall strategy through negotiating tactics. Their other tasks are, according to PNP 2011, page 43, he or she is also responsible for the safety of the principal negotiator when both are engaged in face-to-face situations, and he or she acts as the substitute of the primary negotiator if the latter becomes weary in the process. So, the secondary negotiator is the one who supports the primary negotiator. He is the one, or she is the one is responsible for the safety of the principal negotiator. He he or she also the substitute of the primary negotiator if the hostage taker is wary about the process. Another type of negotiator is the intelligence recorder negotiator. The intelligence recorder negotiator provides a communication link between the negotiator and the remainder of the police command structure. He or she also supports the role of the secondary in tactical development and at the same time maintains a detailed log of events. There are other tasks are PNP 2011 page 43. He or she is trained psychologist and an interpreter. He or she students studies and provides hostage takers as a basic for decision making and subsequent course of action. A psychological profile of he or she effectively files the available background information for ready access. He or she has a thorough understanding of all plans. He or she maintains contact with the intelligence cell, and he or she is a substitute of the secondary negotiator when needed. Another type of negotiator is the word negotiator. The word negotiator is the word person who maintains a visual display of all information relevant to the negotiation. Example of this are deadlines, demands, and details of person known to be in the stronghold. He or she has a thorough understanding of all plans, and he or she is the substitute of the fourth negotiator, according to PNP 2011 page 43. The next one is the hostage taker's demands. Demands can be threats to the negotiation process, or it may be an opportunity for the negotiator in handling demands from the hostage taker always, according to PNP 2011 page 78 to 79. The first is demands should be handled with care. Explain to the hostage taker the difficulties in meeting their demands. Try to reduce the expectations from them. So, example of this is when the hostage taker demands a helicopter, it is difficult to give a helicopter to the hostage taker because we don't have, the PNP don't have this kind of transportation. So the next one is always think tactically. If the demands are simple and their delivery could gain the police tactical advantage, then by all means take advantage of these demands. So if the hostage taker wants a demands, there should be something in return, or something that the police or SWAT team would gain something. Seek reciprocation when you give it to some demands. See to it that you always seek something in return. So example of this, when the hostage taker demands a money or food, example of this, or food, see to it that the police or the law enforcement should have something in return, or Example of this are hostage. Hostage. Exchange of food is the exchange of food is an hostage. Is a hostage. Fourth one is sow seeds of doubt. It should impress upon the hostage takers that even if they are in the shoes of the police personnel, they will not give into these demands. Next is seek precise details of these demands. Arrangement should be properly described so that each point is clear to both the hostage takers and the negotiators. And lastly, in cases of multiple demands, deal with the easy ones first. Type of demands. There are two types of demand: negotiable and non-negotiable demands, according to Castillo Jr. and Gabao 2021, page 78. First is negotiable demands. Example of these are food, cigarettes, drinks, alcohol, transportation, media coverage, or freedom. Next is non-negotiable demands. Example of these are weapons, ammunition, drugs, release of prisoners, exchange of hostages. And now, here are some guidelines in handling demands. According to the PNP Hostage Negotiators Handbook 2011, the guidelines in handling demands are the following. First is do not seek or ask for them. Second, do not ignore them, list them down, and forget about these demands. Do not say yes or no to them. Tell the hostages takers that you have to discuss everything first with the incident on scene commander. Do not misunderstand them. You might add to the complication if you misinterpreted these demands. Next is do not call them demands once you agree to some of these demands. The hostage taker might ask for another and you may not be able to give it to them. Listen to anything and do not give anything away. Do not make any offer without reason. Do not make offers outside your control. You may not be able to fulfill this and it will destroy the rapport you have built up. Do not dismiss demands as trivial. Who knows, this might be the key to your success, and do not resurrect forgotten demands. PNP procedures in a hostage situation. The following step shall be undertaken in the event of a hostage situation, according to Castillo Jr. and Gabao 2021, page 82. The first is activate a Critical Incident Management Committee or CIMC. Second is secure and isolate the incident scene so that the civilian will not be harmed or not be harmed. Ensure the control of communication lines and simultaneously ensure that all other lines are cut off along with the electricity and water supply to allow for maximum bargaining. Bar unauthorized persons from entering and exiting the incident scene. Record the witnesses' names, addresses, and other information. Direct the witnesses to a safe location. Evacuate all victims, injured persons immediately when the opportunity permits. Ensure that the arrest of the perpetrator shall be the last paramount concern. And lastly, conduct debriefing immediately after the conclusion of the incident. And that would be all. Thank you.